Hello everyone, you're welcome to TM Handcraft, where we impact lives. Here we learn how to sew, make beautiful handcraft, start up a fashion business and earn money. To my returning subscribers, you're welcome once again. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe, like, and put on the notification bell so you can get new updates when we post new videos. Thank you. So today we are going to be making this long pencil Ankara skirt with full lining. I know most times people find it difficult to navigate their ways sewing this long pencil Ankara skirt with full lining. So today we are going to be showing you the step-by-step method of sewing this mature skirt. I've heard many people say that they found it difficult sewing this skirt, especially turning the lining inside out and getting the down part to be exactly the way it is on this picture. But don't worry, today we are going to be showing you how to sew it perfectly. So first of all, we're going to start measuring, and the length of the measurement I'm going to be using is 45 inches. Actually, the measurement I'm supposed to use is 44, and I added 1 inch because of the folding that is going to be at the down part. So you're going to add 1 inch to whatever measurement you are using. And I measured from the waist to the hip, where I got 28 inches, sorry. And I also measured from the waist to the knee point, and I got 38 inches. So whoever you're sewing for, you have to note these points and also measure your client. So I'm going ahead to mark out my hip measurement. Whatever you mark as your hip measurement, add 2 inches sewing allowance to it. And for the knee measurement, whatever you have on your hip, minus 2 inches from it and mark your knee measurement. So down to the ankle, whatever you have on your knee, you're going to also minus 2 inches from it and mark your ankle point. So I'm going ahead to measure the waist. So don't also forget to add your sewing allowance to the waist measurement. So it's always advisable to use your ruler to connect these measurements. So I'm using my ruler to connect the measurements so that it can give you that perfect shape. So now, in order to get that perfect folding at the down part of your Ankara pencil skirt, you're going to look closely to see what we are doing. With that added 1 inch that I added to the full length measurement, I'm going to fold in the 1 inch just the way I'm doing. I'm using my office pin to secure that part to make sure it stays. So I'm going ahead to cut out my marked measurements. Now, having cut out my marked measurements, at this part where I folded, I'm going to be giving it a notch. A notch is just a very tiny cutting just to mark out that part to know where my 1 inch stopped. This notch, you're going to do it for both the front and the back piece. Now I've also placed my front piece on the back and cut that out. Also note that I left about 1.5 inch allowance for my zipper at the back because the zipper is going to be at the back, and I'm going to slit it open because the back piece is usually of two sides. So my zipper is going to be at the back, and that 1.5 inch is going to be for the zipper allowance. So I've slitted it into two parts. So having done that, we're going to move ahead and cut our lining. It's going to be a full lining. So all you have to do is to place the Ankara material on the lining and cut it out. So I'm just trying to arrange my lining because this lining can be so funny most times. So I'm trying to place it properly, and then I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. You're going to do this for both the front and the back piece. You can cut the back piece at the same time, then also slit open the same way we did for the front. Sorry, for the main Ankara. So now watch closely. This down part, you're going to leave that 1 inch we added to the Ankara is not going to be added to the lining as well. The 1 inch is just for the Ankara material because it will be folded inwards. So after that, you go ahead to cut out the lining. Like I said, you cut out the back piece together because cutting it one after the other is going to take your time. So just place the lining into two, then cut it at the same time. So after that, you also cut for the front piece. The front piece is not to be slitted. You need to note that. So we're going to go ahead to start sewing now. Now this is my front piece. Don't mind that I joined my lining I was just trying to manage the lining material since it's a full lining. So this is the front piece. You place your lining in front of your Ankara material, then sew the tip. You don't even need to use up to half inch to sew this tip. Just take a very little space to sew this. And always remember that whenever you are sewing your lining to your Ankara material, endeavor to place your lining in front of the Ankara material. You should sew right on the lining and not on your Ankara material. Make sure your lining is not under, because if your lining is under, it's going to stretch. You end up having excess parts on your lining, which should not be so. So always place the lining in front and sew on the lining itself. Now to this point where we notched, you're going to fold the Ankara towards the lining material. You fold the Ankara inwards and stop at that place where you notched. I'm going to be using my office pin to secure it at both sides. You do the same thing to the other side. Fold inwards towards the lining and make sure you stop at that point where you notched. Then you start sewing. You might be wondering why I joined my lining. It's just because I needed to manage the lining I had at hand. So I had to make use of what I had. So I joined them. You really need to know how to join this to get the perfect measurement that aligns with the Ankara, so you don't have excess on your lining or shortage on your lining. So if you are to do the same, if you're not having enough lining material, you just have to be very tactical in joining your lining. Very, very tactical, actually. So I'm just taking my time, as you can see. So on this part, I had no choice than to sew on my Ankara since it was at the left hand side. But you need to ensure your Ankara beneath is not drawing or is not being stretched. So after sewing the sides, you're going to sew the upper parts. I'm going to close up the upper part because it's going to be a zipper. So the waistline should also be closed. So after you've closed everywhere, you might be wondering what you're going to do next. So all you have to do is to go to the side around the knee area because everywhere is closed up now and there's no part to turn it inside out. So you're going to go to the knee area and turn it inside out. So after you've done that, that place you opened up, you're also going to stitch it and close it up. So that's what I've done. I've closed up the part where I opened in order to turn it inside out. Now what I'm just doing here is to sew the top of the waistline just to make it relaxed a bit. So now moving on, we're going to sew the back piece, one part of the back piece, and exactly what we did to the front piece, we're going to do to the back piece as well. Everything we did to the front piece, that's the same thing you're going to do to the back piece. So we're going to go ahead to put our darts. We're going to sew our darts to both the front and the back pieces. And this is the front piece. The dart I'm using for the front piece is going to be 8 inches apart from each other, because you're going to have two darts in front of your front piece. So I'm starting one side of the dart. So I measured from the waist to about 6 inches, 6 inches from the top. So watch closely how I put my darts. This is how to sew a dart on your skirt. How to sew a dart on your skirt. So here is it. This is for one side. You're going to do the other side. So this was where I marked for the second part. So the length of the measurement I used for my dart is 6 inches from the waist. So you're going to use about half inch to sew this dart. So I used 6 inch length, and I used half an inch to sew the dart. Starting from the beginning, you're using half an inch. Then as you keep going down, you target the end, the end point of where you've marked. So that's where you're going to stop. So this is exactly how to sew a dart for your skirt. So as you can see, it's very neat. So this is for the back. I'm using 6 instead of 4 I used for the front because of my zip. Because this zip is going to take the other remaining part of the measurements. So I'm also using 6 inches length for the back dart as well. So you have to target the end points of that 6 inches or so you're going to use. It's going to be like a V shape. So this is how to sew a dart for your skirt. You do the same thing for the other part of the back piece as well. So here I'm done. So the next thing you're going to do is to place the two back pieces together. Leave about 6 inches from the waist to the hip. Then stitch from the hip to the knee length. From the from the from the hip to the knee length. So that is where you're going to close up. Then after that, you join them together and put your zip. In my next video, I'm going to be showing you how to attach a zip and how to close up your skirt. So with this, you're done with your pencil skirt with full lining. So this is how to sew a pencil skirt with a full lining. So here you're done. I'll be showing you how to put a zipper in my next video. So please, if you know you've learnt from this video, please give this video a thumbs up, share to your friends, and don't forget to put on the notification bell so that you can get updates whenever I post new videos. So here is our Ankara pencil skirts. And this is the front piece. This is what the end point looks like. Thank you for staying with me till this moment. I really appreciate. And if you've learned, please do well to put on your notification bell and share this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Tell your friends to subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.